Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jewel Onuk. Hi, welcome, and if this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel. Like this video if you care, invite your friends. If you don't want to subscribe, that's totally fine, no pressure. And I really appreciate any way you support me. I appreciate it. Anyways guys, so moving on, I spoke to my friend and then I asked him. I was like, I need a particular day to be posting, because normally I just post any day. So I was like, I need a particular day to be posting my videos, because I feel that would make me more organized. That would make me like plan my week accordingly and know when I can research and things like that. And I was like, I'm thinking Wednesday, and then he was like, yeah, he thinks Wednesday is a good time. And then he was like, yeah, Wednesday, you can call it Spooky Wednesday. And that actually that actually felt so good. So moving forward, I will be publishing my videos every Wednesday. It just gives me a way to like plan my week. I know that okay, Wednesday is when my video is coming out. So let's just get into this whole video, and sorry for this long intro. In today's case, we are going to talk about Andrea Yates, and I'm sure most of you know about this case. It's about a woman who killed not one but 5 of her children. So before I go into this episode, I would like to give some information. If you know that you're going through postpartum depression, PTSD, PPD, or postnatal depression, which is also known as baby blues, and you need somebody to talk to, please call your GP, your midwife, or your health visitor. And also you can call Samaritans on 116123, or you can text shout on 85258. Yeah, I got that. And again, before we go into this case, I know this happened in the early 2000s where mental health was not really recognized like that. And honestly speaking, I feel like the society and those around this woman actually failed her. And again, if you have any judgments about this case or about Andrea, I would advise that you watch it to the end and make your reservations later. And don't be harsh, even in your mind. Don't be harsh, be realistic, and do not just throw judgments like that. People should know that mental health is very real, and it's very important to surround yourself with people who understand mental health, because the last thing you want to do is to surround yourself with someone who is very naive about mental health or the effects that mental health can actually cause, or the effect that it can have on an individual. Guys, it seems like I talk too much. Oh my god. Before I go into the case properly, every source that I use in my research is always down in the description box. But oh my god, as I was wrapping up my research, because like when I research, I like to go and like watch like more videos, because I'm more of a visual learner, more of a visual and audio learner, so it gets stuck in my head. So I decided to go on Apple Podcasts and just listen to Andrea Yates' case again. So I just typed Andrea Yates, and then this podcast, Women Committing Crime, comes up, and then is hosted by a 52-year-old woman named Elizabeth Chase. God, this woman is so hilarious, and I love her sense of humor. She actually went in depth in this case. Like, you would know that she really did her research. She posts once a month. After I listened to Andrea Yates' case, I actually listened to like her other cases, because she actually goes so deep into this case. Here she talks about the doctor's records, testimonies from her family, like things that I really did not see online. I think that's why I should get a VPN. She actually covers a whole lot, and she's truly an inspiration, because she's 52. She has her child. She has a 27-year-old daughter, and she has a son. And every research she does, every editing, recording, she does it by herself. I think her husband is one that did her logo for her, but apart from that, like everything she does it by herself. She's literally an inspiration. Yeah, so let's just get right into this video. Andrea Yates was born in Hallsville, Texas in the year 1964. Other sources said in the year 1962, but most sources said she was born in 1964. So I'm actually going to go with 1964. She was the youngest of 5 children. Her mom was a German immigrant and her dad was an Irish immigrant. During her teenage years, she had bulimia and she suffered from depression. There was even a time when she was 17 that she spoke to one of her close friends about suicide. In 1982, she graduated from Millbury High School, where she was a valedictorian. She was also the captain of her swim team, and she was also an officer in the National Honor Society. She had things going for her. She was very intelligent. Everything was just going perfect for her. Andrea completed a 2-year pre-nursing program at the University of Houston, and after which she graduated from the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. From 1984 to 1994, she worked as a registered nurse at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. In the summer of 1982, this was when Andrea had met her husband, Russell Yates, who is also known as Rusty. Rusty was an engineer at NASA. He was literally an engineer at NASA. He was rich, and he said that one day he was in his balcony on his campus and he seen this woman in the swimming pool, and he was like that once he saw her, he just knew that he wanted to end up with that woman, and that woman was Andrea Yates. Andrea Yates prior to this, she had not dated a lot. I read that she was very awkward around guys. She was not this makeup-y kind of girl. She was just a very minimalistic people, so she had not had any much experience with dating. So that day when Russell had met her in the swimming pool, the two of them just clicked, and some sources actually said that she asked him out on a date, but we don't know how, and that is how everything went. When these two had met, they had actually moved in together, and on April 17th, 1993, they got married. Andrea, she grew up as a Catholic, that's all she's known, and then she meets Rusty. Rusty was a follower of a religious extremism organization who the leader is known as Michael Woronicki. So this man is this hellfire preacher who preaches that everything you're doing is wrong, and that to go to heaven you have to suffer. So he's this kind of person that he's like, let me tell you something. If you think that you're going to heaven, you're not going to heaven. The fact alone that you think you're going to heaven means that you're proud, so you're actually going to hellfire. So he was that kind of preacher. And obviously Andrea, she meets Rusty, who this is his religion, this is what he believes in, and all of a sudden she's in for it. So after Russell and Andrea get married, they said they were going to have as many children as nature would want them to. So what they actually meant by this was they're going to have as many children as God wanted them to. Let's not forget that Rusty is this rich guy. He earns I forgot to say, he actually earns $80,000 every year, which then was a whole lot of money, and which now is still a whole lot of money. So they bought a house in Friendswood, Texas. They bought a 4-bedroom flat, and this is when their first child, Noah, was born. Their first child, Noah, was born in February 1994. After this, Russell actually accepted a job in Florida. They had to relocate, and they sold their house and they lived in a small trailer in Seminole, because I actually googled the pronunciation about this last night, because I was like, I don't want to mispronounce any words. They sold their house and they stayed in a small trailer in Seminole. Then they moved back to Houston when they had their third child. Their third child's name was Paul. When they moved back to Houston, they purchased a GMC motorhome. Let's not forget that Rusty at this time, he's making $80,000 a year. Like I said, then it was a huge money, and now it's actually still a lot of money. So this is someone who is earning $80,000 a year and is living in a motorhome. Andrea then gave birth to her fourth child, and following the birth of her fourth child, she became depressed. These are 6 people living in a trailer home with someone who is earning $80,000 a year. And part of this was because, allegedly, it was because of their religion, because of what they believed in, because their religion believed that if you loved extravagant things, that means you're being proud, and that means you're not going to make heaven. So imagine this woman with 4 children in a trailer home. Do you know how stressful that is going to be? Because children are something else. I can remember when my sister was 2 years old. Oh my days, like I was like, what the actual? Because that was the first time I knew that there was anything like troublesome twos. Because when they are 2 years, they are these little devils, little minions just running about. So imagine this woman, she has 4 children, and all of a sudden she's living in this small congested motorhome, and her husband makes 80k a year. And minus that, I also researched that her husband used to invest so much in getting computer equipment, but when it came to Andrea, he used to limit how much she actually spent. This is somebody that had everything going on for her. She had so much going on for her. She wanted to be a nurse, she wanted to save lives, and then she gets married, and because her husband is earning 80k a year, her husband is working in NASA. Basically, he's like, don't worry, I'll bring in the money, just stay at home and become a housewife. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with becoming a housewife. I feel it's a very fulfilling job, but I don't think that was her initial dream. I think she wanted, this is someone that she went extra miles, she made her parents happy. So I don't think that she initially, when she was putting down her life goals, I don't think she put down she wanted to be a housewife. Obviously, she became a housewife. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with becoming a housewife. It's a very rewarding job. It's something that most people find pleasure in. Some people love being housewife, but I feel like it's a different turn if that is not how you planned your life. Hope I explained myself properly. When Andrea gave birth to her fourth child, she became severely depressed. On 16th of June 1999, her husband found her shaking and chewing her fingers, and here she was hospitalized, but then she was released. She was given antidepressant and then she was released. Some days after, she was begging her husband to take her life, and she was pointing a knife at her neck looking for the right vein just so that she would kill herself. The next day, she was hospitalized again, and then she was given several medications, and one of the medication they gave her was Haldol. Haldol was a medication that is an antipsychotic medication. This medication made her improve, and even when she was released, she was also given this medication, so she was temporarily stabilized. After this, she went back home, and then her and her husband, with her 4 children, they moved into a smaller home because of her health. I don't know how a smaller home would help for her health, but obviously in this case, Russell was the dictator, so they moved into a smaller home with the 4 children. And here, everything looks like everything was going fine. Like, research said that during this time, she was temporarily stabilized. Also, after one of her suicide attempts, she had actually said that she's very grateful that she actually did not die, because that was when she realized that she had a family to live for. In July 1999, Andrea, she actually had a nervous breakdown again. She had like 2 suicide attempts and 2 psychiatric hospitalizations. She was then diagnosed of postpartum psychosis. So during my research, I found out that Andrea's first psychiatrist, Dr. Eileen Starbranch, had actually urged her and her husband not to have any more children, that if they had any more children, that Andrea would have future psychotic depression. And this couple, they did not listen to their psychiatrist. Instead, approximately 7 months after, Andrea became pregnant with their 5th child, Mary. And before this, like, this pregnancy was intentional. It was not something that they actually thought of the bat, because prior to that, Andrea had actually stopped her medication, the medication that the doctors had prescribed to her. She had actually stopped taking them, and when they asked her why she stopped taking them, she was like, oh, she did not believe in them. But this is the same medication that actually helped her during the time when she was admitted, and it was also said that she actually got better. But her and her husband said they did not believe in the medication, and then she was like, she needed to have children, back to her religious belief of, oh yes, is my intention to have children because God wants me or wants us to have children. Anyways, November 30th, 2000, Andrea gave birth to her daughter, Mary, and everything seemed to be going well. Everything seemed to be going fine until in March 12, 2001, Andrea had lost her father. I forgot to mention, so Andrea's father was diagnosed of depression and her brother was diagnosed of bipolar. And it was also reported that her mom was a gambler. So even though she was this perfect person, this perfect girl, this perfect child, daughter, at the background, half her and her family, they were actually going through it. So when she lost her dad, this actually hit a nerve because she became instantly very much more depressed. She started mutilating herself. She stopped eating. She stopped feeding her child, like her last child, Mary, who was barely a year. She became very incapacitated that she actually was hospitalized again. On April 1st, 2001, she was treated by Dr. Mohammed Saeed and she was then released. There was even a time she actually fell into a near catatonic state where she actually filled the bathtub with water, but then she was hospitalized after a scheduled doctor visit. Later down the line, she told the police that this was her first attempt to drown her children. But at this point, when she went to see her doctor, she went to see her doctor the next day because she was scheduled to see her doctor, but then they actually hospitalized her. At this time, her doctors actually thought that maybe this was an attempt for her to drown herself because nobody had thought that, she would want to drown her children. One day, Rusty, her husband, left for work and he left Andrea alone to watch her children. And I forgot to mention Dr. Mohammed Saeed, that instructed her husband Rusty never to leave Andrea alone by herself. He was like that Andrea should actually have 24-hour supervision all the time. But Rusty had left for work and his mother, Andrea Yates, was meant to come an hour after he left to, continue the supervision and look after Andrea and the children. But within this 1 hour, Andrea had drowned all her 5 children. So guys, I'm currently editing and I realized I forgot to give trigger warning. So this next bit about to enter is basically describing how she killed her children. So if you feel like that is going to be triggering for you, I've put the stamp here for you to know where to click to. So if you're not able to stomach that, because even me, the reporter, I kind of get emotional during that part. So basically, if you feel you're not going to stomach that, just use this timestamp to just go to where you can continue watching. Thank you. The first person Andrea had drowned was John, then Paul, and then Luke. And after this, she laid them in her bed, and then that's when she went further to drown her daughter Mary, who she left floating in the bathtub. Guys, this really gets to me. Like, even when I was researching, like, I understand like why people don't actually do children's cases, because like I'm just imagining those children like in the bathtub crying for their lives, looking straight down into their mother's eyes. After she drowned Mary, her younger child, Noah came into the bathroom and saw his mom and Mary in the tub, and then he asked his mom, "Mommy, what's going on?" And then after, he begins to process everything and he decides to start running for his life. But obviously Noah is just 7. She actually ran after Noah. She caught Noah and she drowned him too, and she left him floating on the tub. And then she left Mary, oh fuck guys, she left Noah floating in the tub, and she picked up Mary and placed Mary in the arms of John in her bed. After this, she called the police repeatedly and she said she needed an officer, and the police person on the line kept asking her, why do you need an officer? And she refused to give a reason. And then she called her husband, who was at work, and told her husband that her husband should come home immediately. So she stayed at home till the police came calmly, and it was also reported that when the police came, she didn't even argue, she didn't even do anything. What she actually asked them was, when is my trial date? My heart is broken because like I'm just in this state. Like imagine the person you trust. I'm sure they looked right into her eyes. Okay, before we go down into the murder, remember when I told you guys about the religion extremist organization that they follow? So this man, Michael Wernicke, basically he just used to talk about how the children will go to hell because she was like, she wanted to protect her children from the world and protect them from being homosexuals. You guys know how children, like I was talking about my sister, like children can be so troublesome. They are children, like that is what they are known for. That is what they are. You cannot. She was like, she killed them to save them. She kept saying, I killed them to save them, because she was like, she didn't want her children to go to hell. Guys, why is that whenever I'm recording, fly comes into my room? And this is a big ass fly in my room. The windows are open because of fresh air, but it's too early for flies. It's too early for flies. Like, the sun is not even out yet. Why? Andrea, she did not hold back. She confessed to killing her children. Prior to her second trial, she had actually told Dr. Michael Wellner that she had waited for her husband to leave for work so she would kill her children, because she knew that if she had actually tried to kill her children when he was around, he would have prevented her from harming them. Like, I mean, duh. After the murders, the police had found out that their family dog was also locked up. They speculated that she locked the dogs up because the dog would have prevented her from killing the children by barking and, creating attention towards the house. Her husband said that the dog was hardly ever locked up. Rusty was like that when he had left for work that morning, that the dog was roaming around freely. So that just cements or justified the whole reason why she actually locked the dog up, because obviously you guys know how dogs can get when it comes to how protective they are of people around, people that care for them. They will, if they see that they are going through harm, they will bark, raise awareness, and draw so much attention. So obviously she did not want that. That's why she had locked the dog up and continued killing her children. So her lawyers pleaded not guilty as a reason of insanity. The expert testimony, they agreed. They were like that, yeah, Yates, Andrea was psychotic. But when it came to Texas law actually states that in order for the insanity plea to be used, that means that at the time of the crime, the person, the suspect or the criminal, has to prove that they did not know that what they were doing was wrong at the time of the crime. Guys, I want to do a case on how the insanity plea, how it came about. I actually know the history of it. The time I was researching about it, and I was like, this should be a case that I should actually do. So I think I'm going to do that, because it actually originated in the UK. It's a very interesting case in which I looked into. Guys, I'm so Snoopy. I don't know if I should do a case on that, but it's a very, very interesting one. In March 2002, the jury at that time, they rejected the insanity plea. The prosecutors wanted to give her the death penalty, but the jury also rejected this. So they gave her life imprisonment with at least 40 years. So, however, on January 6, 2005, my birthday, a Texas court of appeal, they reversed the convictions because they had found out that a California psychiatrist and prosecution witness, Dr. Yates, in which, actually, speaking about Yates, I think Dennis Rader, the case that we did about a month prior, 2 months ago, I think his wife's name was Paula Yates, because I just remembered now. So on January 6, 2005, the Texas Court of Appeals, they had reversed her convictions because Dr. Park Yates, who was a California psychiatrist and a prosecution witness, had given a false testimony. So in his testimony, Yates, he had stated that shortly before the murder, an episode of Law and Order had aired, and actually this featured a woman who drowned her children and was acquitted of the murder by reason of insanity. I really did not understand that part, to be honest. I tried looking at other sources to know what does Law and Order has to do with that, because I really did not understand that part. So if you understand it, please let me know. So guys, I actually get that part. Yesterday I was reading this over and over again. I was like, I don't understand, but now I actually get that part. So basically what Dr. Park Yates was saying was that prior to when Andrea had killed her 5 children, that there was an episode of Law and Order that was aired on television where there was a woman who actually killed her children by drowning, and then she got away with it because she used the defense of not guilty by the reason of insanity. So Dr. Park Yates actually said that this woman, Andrea, had watched that episode and decided to drown her children that same way, thinking she was going to get away with the murder, the same way the woman in the movie got away with the murder. But then again, what I don't understand is that if this man called Dr. Park Diet actually brought that to the court scene, why didn't they verify it? Why did they go by his words? And then again, it's good it happened, but like, I mean, she already spent like, was it 4 years in prison, when honestly she could have just been in a mental facility. There are people that have committed worse sins that have been in mental facility, and I'm not saying that what she did was right, but obviously it's very apparent that there was something wrong with this woman mentally. She had a whole history of mental health records. Like, if you check her medical reports, like, she had a whole history. So Dr. Park Diet, he should even be persecuted for coming to the stage to lie. But anyways, that's by the way. I just wanted to clear that and get that out of the way. However, on July 26, 2006, after 3 days of deliberation, Andrea Yates, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity, which was defined by the state of Texas. Thereafter, she was committed to the North Texas State University Venom campus, and in January 2007, she was moved to the Kerrville State Hospital. This is a low-security mental facility in Kerrville, Texas. So now let's talk about her husband, Rusty Yates. If you guys notice, like, I just didn't really speculate about him. I just didn't really talk about him, because honestly speaking, how did they let this man go? I feel like this man too should have been arrested, because no, he did not kill his children, but he played a great part to Andrea killing his children. First of all, remember Dr. Saeed, when I said that Dr. Saeed had advised Rusty not to leave Andrea unsupervised. If I explain that part, maybe remember when I said that his mom came after an hour to watch Andrea. If someone is talking, you would just think that maybe the mom was late, but no, this was very intentional. So before the date of the murder, before Andrea killed her children, it was reported that prior to this, he had been leaving her unsupervised almost every day for an hour each day. And he had also announced at family gatherings that he did this because he didn't want her to be solely independent on him and his mother, and also neglect her maternal duties. Guys, this is where patriarchy smells. This is where patriarchy smells. And it's just so funny. I'm very glad that people are doing so hard for women to be recognized. But like, Rusty was patriarchal to the core. His patriarchal was toxic. Toxic. So there are some reports that said that Andrea was controlled by her husband Rusty, and like I said earlier, that he would spend so much money buying computer equipment. It was reported that he would spend so much money buying computer equipment, allegedly, and he would limit how much Andrea spent on the family and on the children. Let's not forget, he allegedly urged Andrea to be a housewife when all she wanted was to be a nurse. Rusty had no empathy for his wife, and the hospital has suggested that Andrea should go through electroshock therapy, but every time they brought this up, Rusty always disagreed, and he was like that no, that she would not go through electric shock therapy. He was like, instead let her be hospitalized and give her medication, even though he did not actually believe in medication. So even the time when she was taking her medication and she had to stop taking her medication because she was trying to conceive. And honestly, I don't even think that this was solely Andrea's point, because if the camera angle has changed, my card was full, so I had to like delete videos from like 6 months ago. Anyways, I think that before Andrea made any suggestions, she would have passed it through her husband. And if he cared enough for his wife, he would have told her. The doctor said that if you give birth, that it will increase your depression, or it will increase your mental health problems. But no, he did not do that. Instead, he made her stop taking her medication so they will conceive and give birth to a child. he should have been apprehended too, honestly speaking, at least given like 2 years imprisonment. It was also reported that allegedly that he was saying that the doctors did not diagnose Andrea right, that she does not have PTSD, that she was acting due to her hormones, that her action is due to her hormones. And even to this day, we actually see men like this that will be like, oh, are you on your period? Why are you acting like that? Are you on your reds? Why are you acting? Oh, what's going on? They just always just put it down to the fact that, yeah, every month we see our monthly cycle, and then they are like, why are you acting like this? Are you on your reds? Are you on your reds? So like he was putting it down to her hormones. There was even a time that he actually compared her to a woman who had 9 children, and it's like, see, this woman is in her job. So literally he was just downplaying her mental health. And even her friends, her best friend allegedly said that Andrea was just somebody who was just controlled by her husband. There's a time she came to visit her, and then he just called and was like, see, you left a child with a dirty nappy here. You're a man, why can't you clean their nappies? And then he called and was like, it's late, come back home. So she also allegedly said that Andrea will be taking care of her children, and she'll be looking so worn out, so down. And I forgot to mention Andrea, because her husband did not believe in school, even though he went and she went, because they wanted to raise their children in a particular way, not to get acquainted with the people of the world. Andrea actually homeschooled the children. Imagine homeschooling 4 children. Allegedly, her best friend said that her child, who was the same age with one of Andrea's children, was talking better than Andrea's children. Yeah, Andrea was very intelligent and everything, but at the same time, homeschooling her children at that time was not easy, because it's someone that was depressed, suicidal, had like several mental health problems, and then her husband was putting all this unnecessary stress because he didn't want her to neglect her maternal duties. Guys, I'm just getting mad at this point, to be honest, because I'm like, what the? So let's talk about their religious extremism. So like I mentioned, they had actually met Michael Boroniki. They were following his preaching. So this man, he was a missionary in a college, was an unaffiliated cleric who preached this overzealous form of righteousness. He's this kind of person that he was basically he was this hellfire preacher. That's how he was described as. He was this hellfire preacher. So the van that Andrea and Yates lived in allegedly was purchased from this preacher, and he's the kind of person that just preached that if you think that you're going to heaven, that means you're going to hell, because how dare you think you're going to heaven? That alone is pride. For you to say that yes, you're going to heaven, he believed that you have to pass through the eye of the needle to see the kingdom of God. I know, yeah, but like he's the one that took it like literally, and he kept on condemning, allegedly he kept on condemning Andrea's the way she raised her children. He said that she's raising her children like children of the world, and they were going to go to hellfire. So Andrea, she was trying to protect her children from becoming homosexuals, allegedly. Everything I'm saying is allegedly, because I am just a little girl who don't want to get sued, so it's allegedly. And during her trial, she said that she heard that Waroniki preached that women derive from sin, and that hell-bound mother would see their children born in hell. And according to her, she said that this was the 7th deadliest sin. And she said in her words, my children weren't righteous. She said that her children stumbled because she was evil, and that the way she was raising them, that they could never be saved. And she also said that they were doomed to perish in the fires of hell. But people talk about this, and then what happened to the verse? If you want to follow the Bible word for word, what happened to the portion of the Bible that said, come to me as you are and I will make you whole, or something like that? Like, come to me as you are and I'm going to make you whole, I'll make you a new creature. Like, what happened to that? What happened? People just portray God to be this wicked person who is either you do it or you die. God is a very merciful God who actually protects and loves his own. This is why I would always identify as a liberal Christian. Also, the media and the people, they actually thought that the preacher Michael Woronicki, he actually bears some responsibilities to the death of these children, because minus everything, he actually had these monthly newsletters that he always gave out, called the Perilous Times. And the Yates, that's Andrea and her husband, every month they actually had this newsletter in their house. And also this newsletter was also used as evidence during their trial. But I don't know how they let him go scot-free. I don't know how they let her husband go scot-free and just put everything on this poor woman. This woman was literally going through it. Like, her family has a history of mental health problems. She was going through it, like everything. But then again, they let the enablers scot-free. In August 2004, Rusty had filed for divorce, and he stated that he and Yates had not lived together since the murder, and because of that, he wanted to divorce her. Obviously, she was in a mental health facility. Actually, here she was in prison, because she moved into the mental health facility in 2006. So actually, here she was in prison. So the divorce was granted in March 17, 2005, after which Rusty began dating his second wife, Laura Arnold, and they married on March 5th, 2006, and had just one son. But in 2015, she filed for divorce. If you want to follow the Bible word for word, follow the Bible word for word. You're talking, you're saying this, blah, 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 blah. Oh, if I do this, I'll go to hellfire. But you are divorcing your wife and marrying another person. But you've forgotten the portion of the Bible that says God hates divorce. What happened to that portion of the Bible that says God hates divorce? All of a sudden, that's not your problem. If you really wanted to follow the Bible word for word, why didn't you marry your wife? Why weren't you still married to your wife even when you're in prison, even when she's in prison? Why? All of a sudden, that part of the Bible does not matter to you. So I always say, get to know the Bible for you. Get to know the Bible for yourself. I understand the Bible does not change, but then again, it's written by people. Do you understand? People portray God as if he's this very wicked person. God is a very merciful person. God is a very merciful man. He's a merciful God. And honestly, I just wish Andrea had never even met this man. I wish I had never met this man, honestly speaking, because obviously I'm sure that her life would have been very, very different now. So let's talk about Andrea Yates now. Since January 2007, Andrea has been at the Kerrville State Hospital, which is a mental facility in Kerrville in Texas. Although she's been remanded in the mental facility more than 15 years, Andrea, she is always due to undergo a review every year to see if she's competent to leave the facility. But of recent times, every year she actually opts out to get reviewed because she just wants to be down in the facility. I think she's 57 years now, and instead of moving out, she just chooses to continue receiving treatment. And again, the details of her treatments have not yet been released to the media or to the public. So her defense attorney actually told People magazine, and he was like that, yeah, he still keeps in contact with Andrea Yates, and that Yates is, in quotes, happy in the facility. He told ABC News that, yeah, he was like, think about it. I mean, hypothetically, where would she go and what would she do? But like, let's think about it. Where would she go? What would she do? I don't know if her mom is still alive. Obviously, her dad died. Her brother has bipolar. Her husband remarried, had another son, divorced. I'm even surprised. Wait. He had one child. I thought he wanted to have as much children as God wanted him to. How come he had just one child between 2005 and 2015? Like, guys, I'm pissed off. Honestly speaking, this is a clear case of how everybody around this woman failed her. Panhan later told People magazine that every year, Andrea, she grieves for her children, and that she often watches home videos of her kids, which is so sad and which breaks my heart. And she spends time making aprons, making cards, and making gifts in the craft room. and she sells them anonymously. There was a memorial made on behalf of her children called the Yates Children Memorial Fund. So every proceeds she gets from what she sells, she actually puts it towards the children memorial. And this memorial was founded by her defense attorney Panhan and his wife Mary, and they dedicated it to the women's mental health, particularly postpartum mental health. So guys, I am editing, and as usual I still do like some research on the case while I'm still editing, and I have discovered that there is actually a Facebook page. I really don't know who is managing this page, to be honest. I don't know the person that is managing the page, but this page is in honor of Andrea's children, 4 of their children. So basically, what is managed by a woman, I actually don't know how the woman is related to them or affiliated to Andrea. But what I have noticed is that anytime it's any of their birthday, she just puts their pictures up. Like, I think Noah was meant to turn 28 years this year, February, and she was like, happy birthday, Noah. And Mary was meant to turn 20 years. So she just keeps her memory alive, because she was like that is what she just wants to do. She just wants to keep the memory of Andrea's children alive, which I actually think is very beautiful. Guys, I am so emotional. Like, I feel like crying, because this case, yeah, is a clear example of how women get neglected during and after and before they get pregnant. Honestly speaking, in as much as we are trying, this world is still patriarchal. Like, take a look at the way USA banned abortion. Like, take a look at things like that. It's a state where men are making decision on women's body. This is why her husband did not believe that she was going through a mental health disorder. This is why he did not believe, and he just thought that she was just doing it because she was stressed and trying to neglect her maternal duties. Reasons like this are why her husband treated her the way she was treated. Because then again, men think that they know women. Again, I don't know if you guys know, I don't want to be pregnant for so many reasons. Also, I don't want to go through. I don't know if I will go through it. You don't know till you go through it, till it's happened. But like, reasons like postnatal depression is also another reason why I don't think I want to get pregnant. It's really not easy, especially for women. Men constantly think they know women, and they give rules. This world is definitely patriarchal. It's a man's world, and I love the fact that women are fighting for our ground. It's really not easy. Men just think they can just sit down and just make decisions based on our body. Like, okay, guys, it feels like I hate men. I don't hate men. At that time, I was just so frustrated, and I just was having every emotion in me. So I do not hate men. I have like 5 brothers who I love so much, and I have a father. I don't hate men. I was just thinking of every way that men have, like, tried to make decisions on behalf of women. And at that time, it really, really did hit me. But I have nothing against men. I believe that men are who they are. Yeah. Sorry if it came up as if I hated men or I hate men. I don't hate men. I just got very emotional. This was a very sad one, guys. It was a very touching one. This one definitely hit me. It hit me so bad. Like, damn. If you have any reservations against this woman, just keep it to yourself, because at this point I'm just going to like delete the comments. I don't know, you guys don't even comment anyways, but like, if I see anyone, and yeah, this should be this should be a reminder that women go through things postnatally after they've given birth. This should be a reminder. Oh my god, guys, it seems like you're seeing my face a lot, but anyways, so I finished editing, and I'm not yet saved this. So I'm just about to sleep. I'm like, okay, let me just go through maybe some articles on this Andrea's case. So I'm seeing one that came out like I think this year or whatever. So basically, Andrea's husband, he keeps getting on my nerves. So he told Time magazine, he was like, the Bible says the devil prowls around looking for someone to devour. I look at Andrea and I think that Andrea was weak. Think about a field of deer and there's one limping around, and that's kind of what I see. And that's kind of the way I see it. Andrea was weak and he attacked her. The nerve of this man to associate Andrea's mental illness to the devil attacking her without being learned that women go through postpartum depression and mental health illness around their pregnancy is so appalling. Oh my days, like I am so pissed off. I don't want to be pissed off to bed. It's like past 12 a.m. Like it's just like 5 minutes past 12 a.m. And I don't want to be pissed off because I don't need this energy in my space. But like this man, I don't know why this man was not arrested with her. I don't know, at least he should have even smelled like two years in prison, because the nerve, honestly, this really irks me, and I don't know why. I don't know why, but like this should be a learning curve that women actually go through things mentally. Especially during pregnancy, this should be a learning curve, and this should create awareness, honestly speaking. Anyways, guys, I think this should be all. I'm going to bed, I'm going to sleep, and see you guys next week. I work in the perinatal mental health service, and I'm not a clinician. I do mostly the office job, but then I have the opportunity to go into the multidisciplinary team meeting, the MDT meeting, and I hear a lot of these cases, and I'm like, wow, women are actually going through it in this life. So be kind to women. Guys, I hope this was it. If you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel, like this video, and you know what, yeah, basically, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate. Thank you for taking the time out to listen to me and to basically hear me and what I have to say. Kindly subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. Honestly speaking, no pressure. You can watch, call your friends to watch, share with your friends, and let me know how I did in this case. I'm going to go to work because I start work by 9, and guys, it's 9:47. My email has been beeping, so I need to go to work, wash my face, and start work. Thank you guys so much, and I really do appreciate. Until next time, bye. After the murders, the police actually found out that the family dog was God. Guys, fly! Please get out! Please get out! Get out! Get out! Jesus! Oh my God! Get out! It's trying to get out! It's trying to get out! Oh, why, guys? I don't fuck, guys, can you hear that? Oh my God. Please get out. It's gone. Fuck. It's gone. Guys, why is there a fly? Why? Why? Oh my God, why?